Hey everybody, good old BryBry here, and today we're playing another game from my backlogs. I know I played Dome Keeper not that long ago, and I figured we're gonna throw this one out there too for people who haven't seen it. This is the Iron Oath. It is a turn-based tactical RPG where you control a group of mercenaries and run around doing quests and things of that nature. Whoops, I hit a button. And do things of that nature. Um, in order to progress the story and level up and customize, excuse me, your characters. I actually really enjoyed this game. I haven't played it since it hit 1.0 last year in November. I played the demo, not the demo, the like early access before 1.0 quite a bit. I have about 19 hours on record and I enjoyed it a lot, but we're going to hop into a new campaign. Enter the company name. Just gonna do BryBry's peeps. And I'm Sir. I can adjust my flag. We're just gonna randomize it a few times until I get something I like. It's not bad, but I want sigil to be different. I like the berserk symbol. Reminds me of berserk anyways. Purple. Good music. No, I'm losing it. Okay. We'll do that. Why not? Starting point, new game, Iron Man. Oh, yeah, no, thank you. If enabled, one's characters reach old age, they could potentially retire from your company or die. You know, that's supposed to be part of the game, so we'll do it. Difficulty. Recommended for players who are experienced with tactical RPGs but new to Iron Oath. So I've played this a bit, but I still am just going to do battle hardened. Because I don't want to make it too much harder for myself. 30 in-game years. Campaign will not, you know, we'll just keep all the normal settings. And just get into it already. We're 3 minutes in. In an era all but forgotten, the gods once lived alongside humanity in the heart of Caelum. However, an unknown cataclysmic event plunged the world into a dark age. History was lost to time, and so too were the gods. In their absence, a rebuilding humanity was left to contend with the emergence of a great being of darkness from the void. Every few decades, in an event called the Scourge, the dragon's arrival would bring death and disease to the land. Those afflicted by the dragon's blight would lose their minds and bodies as they slowly became abominations of flesh and outcasts to society known as the Blighted. Despite centuries of effort from the Vanguard Order and the realm's greatest heroes, no lasting victory against the dragon could be achieved. Humanity has now come to accept the inevitability of the scourge as part of life, enduring, or in some cases thriving despite it. With whispers of an impending scourge circulating, you and your company find yourselves in a burial crypt not far from the city of Andalon, I think. A simple retrieval of smuggled supplies, or at least that's what your employer had promised. So we're just mercenaries working for somebody. What's going on? Didn't want to load, but it worked. So we're Gucci. Alright, here we are in this dungeon fighting some peeps. Uric. Damned grave robber. Stay sharp. No doubt his companions will have heard that. Everyone stands still. Tensions rising as they grip their weapons tight and scan the room for further hostiles. You hear a muffled shout from someone in an adjacent corridor, likely directed toward their now deceased associate. The sound of quickening footsteps soon follows, and 3 figures burst through a doorway at the far side of the room. Gilbert. Shit, should I go and alert the others? Uric shakes his head, eyes fixed on the enemy. No time for that. We have no choice but to fight. Alright. Yep, WASD. Alright, so we have our different people here. We can move, blah 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 blah, move to a green hex. Sprint on the attack. Oh. And you can do the gray hexes and you'll sprint, but it will end their turn. They can't do an attack. You can swap places with an ally by moving onto a location. That's right. Swapping is useful for setting up attacks or for getting out of an ally out of harm's way. That's, see, I'm glad I started over because I would have forgot. And I can draw custom movement. Undo button on hotbar or press E. If you take damage or trigger a stage hazard, you will be able to undo. Okay. Oh yeah, cover from like ranged. You don't have a desirable action to perform. You can delay a character's turn until the end of the round by hitting the wait button. Alternatively, you can end a character's turn by using guard action, which provides bonus to defense and evasion. Your character's unique abilities have a limited number of charges available during the course of a dungeon. Charges can be restored by camping or by using certain provisions. If an ability runs out of charges, it can still be used, but at a large cost to the character's health. With the enemy advancing on us, we can set a trap by using Pyro Lancer's Return to Cinder ability. As you can see, it's important to pay attention to any potential hazards. Some abilities are able to push or pull targets. By forcing targets into obstacles and terrain, you can inflict bonus damage and other harmful effects. Move the pugilist in position and use the crescent wave to blah 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 blah. See, now he's almost dead. Every melee unit on the battlefield exerts a zone of control on the hexes adjacent, okay? Another unit cannot leave this zone without suffering an attack of opportunity where you get hit. You can't just go running through enemies. Everyone has a basic attack. Unlimited uses, but are subject to an accuracy and evasion check. And basic attack. Yes. Most attacks and abilities are subject to line of sight. When targeting, a red eye indicates that there's no line of sight, while a yellow eye indicates partial. Large obstacles such as pillars can block line of sight entirely. When a character has no vision of an enemy, they are unable to directly target them. A smaller obstacles such as a barrel crate or character will partially obscure line of sight under the right circumstances. A target who's partially visible will receive 50% less damage. By taking cover directly behind small obstacle, you can look over the obstacle and gain full vision of an enemy while remaining only partially visible in return. Conduit ability can devastate a single enemy from range, but takes a few turns to channel. You can see where the channel will finish in the turn up top. And it gives you a little skull if it tells you you're going to kill them. With the nearest enemy stunned, the Pyrolancer can safely move past their zone of control without incurring an attack of opportunity. Attacks of opportunity can also be avoided by using abilities that incorporate movement or by utilizing the swap action. Oh, it just wants me to attack him. Your pugilist has killed an enemy and gained morale, which is represented by the white bar under each character's portrait. Right there. Morale is the character's state of mind for the current mission. Gain and loss throughout various combat triggers. Landing a killing blow will increase morale while suffering critical strike from enemy. Yep. Under 25, there's a chance for that character to delay or pass their turn. Additionally, a character with low morale will accrue more fatigue for missions and will also lose loyalty towards the company. Once above 75, all negative conditions applied to that character will have their duration reduced by 1 to a minimum duration of 1 round. Goodness. Targets are considered flanked whenever you occupy 2 opposing hexes around the location. All attacks against flanked targets deal 15% extra damage and cannot miss. If your chance to hit with the basic attack is low, it's best to try and flank the enemy first in order to guarantee a hit, or use an ability instead. Beautiful. And then we get rewards. Can be sold markets are used to repair gear and bandages. Loot all, please. But yeah, so it's a turn-based tactics RPG, if you can't tell. I'll read this in a second. Where you have your different characters that have different abilities, and you build your party. You finish a mission. Excuse me, I keep yawning. And then after you finish a mission, you have to take care of your party, whether it's like rest, heal them, whatever it is. Some people will want, like, will be fatigued, like it said, and won't be able to go back on missions for a little while, or it'll make them weaker. There's just a lot of elements to it, and you can get gear for them and things. It's really cool. I really like it. Okay, your party swivels around as a familiar voice rings out distantly behind you, though the words are unclear. Is that you, Vaughn? Vaughn dashes into the room and stops, bending over to catch his breath. He looks up with a relieved smile. We heard the fighting. I wanted to make sure you had it covered. And the others? Torn and the rest are still searching. Not the most convenient place to stash supplies, is it? At least we're getting paid well to achieve them. We've been in worse situations. Aye, that we have, boss. Was just hoping my last job would be free of surprises. I can't fault you for wanting out, but I wish you'd reconsider. Vaughn smiles faintly. This life takes a toll, my friend. I've seen more death than any man should. Your trusted advisor, Ulrich, steps out from beside you with hands raised. Plenty of time for talk later. It's going to take a while to scour this place, even with the others' help. Right, I'd better get back to Torn and the rest before they find themselves lost. Watch your backs. There may be more of those thieves in here, or worse yet. Vaughn looks back over his shoulder, nodding in acknowledgement. Let's get moving. I really like this game, but it's going to take a strain on my voice. Most actions you take while exploring a dungeon will cost time. The passage of time can have harsh consequences, and is represented by the time meter in the bottom right down here. Begin exploring. Use mouse button to move to the adjacent tiles. See, every time it takes 2. Scouting can be used to reveal the identity of a nearby event and can help avoid traps and other surprises that may await you. By scouting an enemy location, you prevent them from being able to ambush you. It does have limited uses, so it should be used sparingly. But we're going to do it because it wants us to do it. Treasure. When interacting with an exploration event, you'll often have multiple choices available to you, sometimes costing various amounts of time. Your characters will have their own opinion on the choices you make, which can affect their overall loyalty and morale. You spot a discarded pack up ahead, likely dropped in haste by the grave robbers. Don't expect to find much of value, but there's no sense in leaving it behind. Take one time and loot it. Got a bandage and some tools. I don't remember how to look at inventory. No, that's the legend. Okay. They help with traps and stuff. That's right. Oh, yeah, you can heal people, huh? Beautiful. Provisions can be used both in and out of combat. While exploring, you can access your provision inventory by left or by pressing I. Yes. Battle. It's a battle. During the deployment phase, you can reposition your party ahead of combat. Deployment zones vary from fight to fight, and you'll have to make do with what's available. Knowing where enemies can move and attack will help you position your party optimally. To view an enemy's movement and attack range, you can press tab over their character sprite. They can move there. I remember the dogs being a pain. You can stay there. You go up here. You go back here. Actually, you come up here. I ain't scared of any of you. Yeah, line of sight, blah, 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 blah. That's right, ranged enemies get lower. Whatchamacallit? I don't remember all of your abilities. Buff him. He can run over here. And burn. Hoping the burn will get her. Oh no. I didn't realize it would open a skeleton. Cleansing abilities by using add-on on my... Yes. No, because it'll hit my guys too. You get to where storm callers do so much damage. Oh, look, see, dungeon events happen. Now rocks are going to fall on these, and we got to be careful not to get hit. Oh, that's right. That's okay. That's okay. Oops. Some enemies have passive abilities. These are the... Oh yeah, reanimate after being... So you have to smack them again. Smack, 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 smack. We're going to take this opportunity to heal ourselves. Alright. Got a human head. Why would we want this? I don't want that. Yes, I'm sure. I don't need a human head. A faint and distant rumbling becomes audible, steadily growing louder and closer with each passing moment. You look up, noticing cracks forming in the ceiling as small rocks break off and fall on the floor around you. We need to move. Breaking into stride behind the rest of your party, you glance back to see the corridor collapsing in a cascade of falling stones. You cross the threshold into another chamber, diving to the ground as rumbling and crashing halts, leaving your vision obscured by a cloud of dust and dirt. Everyone okay? You look around as the dust settles, relieved to find your party unscathed. Ahead of you, Uric lightly kicks at some rubble on the ground as you inspect the caved-in passage. Another way out. Yeah. With any luck, they will have located things. So that's the objective. Set of tracks lie before you on the ground. Yes. Got to get through the rubble. We don't want time to catch up. That'll be bad. Last hole of magic. Forget the rest. Now let's use shovel. Yes. Unable to flee. Threshold for time modifiers is increased. Well, I'd hope so. It's the first freaking quest. Turd dead, reading each nameplate before moving on next. He suddenly stops and turns with relief in his voice. This is it. Let's hope the contents are still intact. Reaching into the dark recess, Uric pushes aside the creaking lid of a coffin and pulls out the hidden contents within. After a quick peek inside the pack, he walks over you and places it in your hands. It's all there. No damage to the vials, from what I can tell. What does our employee want with them anyway? Ulrich interjects, eager to share his knowledge on the matter. This here is a cure for the blight, or at least it slows the process. The Vanguard keeps it tightly controlled, though, only treating those who pledge themselves to their order. As you can imagine, it's highly sought after on the black market. At least our efforts haven't been wasted. Let's hope the others have secured an exit for us. Right? Boss, yeah, so it's exits after that. Night. Oh, whoops. All dungeons have a main path which leads to your objective and various side paths that branch out from it. Denoted by fog cover. Okay, so they added that. So the fog cover ones are side paths. More opportunities for reward. Yeah. Consider state of your party. Continue on. Treasure. Open it. Money and an antidote. And may come in handy. I agree. I agree. What do we have in here? Stables, injury. We don't have any injuries or anything like that. So we're going to heal you. And you guys should be fine. You hear sudden movement in the darkness ahead, the sounds of bones rattling and steel scraping across the stone floor. Bright green eyes turn toward you, and the figure lets out a bone-chilling screech as it shuffles forward and into the light of your torches. Moving faster than its size and awkward gait would suggest was possible. That cave must have woken the dead. Prepare yourselves. Fight. Enemy traits. Bosses and elite enemies will spawn with unique combat traits. They are important things to consider when facing these foes. You can view these traits and effects by having an enemy's portrait on the right side of the screen and then mousing over a trait's name. Okay, so you're resistant to piercing, you're vulnerable to crushing, and you're immune to bleed and fear. Trait is backstabbing. Okay. And immune to the freeze condition. So we got one guy over here and two over here. Yeah, he's buying cover. Okay. I was going to say, I remember the skeletons are kind of weak, though. Fear. Fear clouds a victim's mind. You have a chance equal to your morale to resist running away on your turn to remove fear. Oh, I can't reach still? Oops. Holy Lord, my max HP. Heal homie. Two in a row. Single target, inflict burn. Oh, well, I guess I didn't even have to do that, but that's fine. Kill your first boss. There was no achievements before, but now there's achievements. I got an achievement for that. I just gotta mop up the last guy. Finish him off with a pillar. Oh, nice. We got a... Oh. Yeah, I know. Leveling up. You spend points and level up your people, attributes, and level up stuff. Yes. I'm not reading all this. Restores 20 morale. We're going to take all of that. Thank you. Now we are out of here. Your party comes to a standstill as muffled shouts and ringing still reverberates down the corridor toward you. Yurik unsheathes his lance as he breaks into stride, barreling toward the sound of battle. That must be the others. Hurry. I didn't know we were going to go into another fight. Oh, I don't think we are, yeah. Your party comes to a standstill as muffled... Oh, we already did that. With the last of the undead dealt with, Vaughn inhales you across the chamber with a flick of his hand. A relieved smile formed upon his face. You found it, then. The exit's just beyond here. Been trying to keep it clear of the dead, but they just keep coming. A pile of bones on the ground suddenly begins to rattle. Torrin steps toward with an amused grunt, crushing a skull beneath his foot and grinding it into a fine dust. Took you all long enough. Vaughn here is getting all worked up and thinking the worst. The crypt groans once more, the ground beneath you shaking ever so slightly. I don't expect the structure will hold out much longer, sir. We best not linger. Yurik raises his torch high, inspecting the ceiling above as small pebbles break away from it. Good advice, I reckon. We got what we came for. Let's not tempt fate. We out of here. After mission, you'll want to seek treatment for any injuries your party has incurred. While an injured character can still fight, injury penalties make them less effective. In order to heal an injury, you must pay for their treatment at a city's infirmary. Some injuries require prompt treatment, otherwise they risk permanent damage or death. Everyone should be fine, though. 2 kills, 4 kills. Yeah, everyone should be fine. Oh, you gotta repair gear too, that's right. As the last light of day begins to fade, you spot your company's camp not far ahead. The flickering flames of bonfires dancing against the darkening sky above the horizon. You stroll into camp, the celebrations of Vaughn's retirement already well underway. After many hours of swapping stories and sharing drinks, all eyes fall on Vaughn as he steps atop a nearby crate, drink in hand, raising his voice to pierce through the ruckus. Now, you all know I'm not one for lengthy speeches, but I'd just like to say that it's been an honor to fight alongside each of you over the years. I dare say that I even consider some of you among my friends. He grins, met by a chorus of laughs and cheers. Hasn't been an easy road, but I've been a fortunate man. Not everyone gets out of the mercenary life on their own terms. I hope you all one day get the same chance. He raises his cup in a toast. To you, my friends. There has never been a finer company. The crowd responds with a burst of applause and cheers, enthusiastically raising their drinks and sending a shower of ale through the air. Your gaze is met by Vaughn as he points his cup toward you, and you nod your head in friendly acknowledgement before striding off to find your tent. With the celebration continuing in your absence, you brush aside the flap of your tent and settle inside. Discarding your weaponry and tossing it near your bedroll, you turn your attention to your desk, its surface covered with disorganized papers, illuminated by the faint glow of a candle. Pulling up a stool, you sit down and begin to pore over one of the maps, charting out tomorrow's course. From outside, the sounds of laughter and poorly played music drifts into your tent. After some time, with the celebrations audibly winding down, you step outside your tent and into the cool evening air. Vaughn approaches your side, mounted atop a horse. Despite the smile on his face, there's a trace of sadness in his eyes. It's time, then. Aye. He leans down and pats the side of his horse. Got my saddle loaded up. Figured I'd sneak out without making a big fuss. He rises from his seat and dismounts, turning to face you with one hand extended. Just wanted to say thanks, boss, for everything. You return the gesture with a smile, gripping his hand and giving it a firm shake. Any chance I can convince you to stay? He steps back and chuckles. If you'd have asked last week, maybe. But this last job cleared any doubts I had. I've survived this long. Reckon I'd be a fool to press my luck any further. Fair enough, friend. We'll always have a place for you if you change your mind. You hear a shout and turn to see Yurik stepping toward you, his young nephew in tow. Sorry to interrupt, he tilts his head, gesturing behind him. But Gedrick here wanted to see you off. Is that so? Vaughn smiles, stepping toward the boy. I know you haven't completed your training, but your uncle's more than capable of finishing the job. I know that. He looks up with admiration. I'm going to miss you, though. Aye, Vaughn grins, reaching out to tussle the boy's hair. And I you. I've half a mind to send him with you. Less danger on a farm, and gods know your old bones could use the help. Ha! There's a few good years of me yet, but you're both welcome to visit any time. He exhales deeply, stealing a glance toward the road. I'd best get going then. Take care of yourselves, would you? He nods farewell, turning toward his horse and hoisting himself into the saddle. Licking his heels, the horse trots off, and you watch him disappear into the dark of night, illuminated only by the moonlight above. You and Yurik glance back at the sound of approaching footsteps to find Torin wedging himself between the two of you, his breath reeking of ale. Company won't be the same without him, I'm afraid. Indeed, it will not. As Yurik and Torin take their leave, you look around the camp, surveying the aftermath of the festivities. Aside from a few inebriated men and women who remain slumped by the fires, it seems that most have turned in for the night. With days of travel yet ahead, you think it wise to follow suit. Goodness, prologue's done. You bolt upright from your sleep, awakened by the blares of a horn from somewhere in your camp. The sound of a frenzied battle are all around you, and you scramble out of your bedroll, taking up a nearby sword. Ulrich bursts into your tent, an orange glow briefly visible behind him as the flap is flung aside. Sir, we're under attack. Winded, he takes a few deep breaths. There was no warning. The horses, the carriages. He raised his hands, trembling with frustration. Everything's been taken. We need to regroup with the others. Have you seen Yurik? Ulrich wipes the sweat from his brow, shaking his head. Couldn't find him. With Gedrick, I hope. You meet Ulrich's eyes and nod in agreement. With a firm grip on your sword, you step past him and reach for the tent's flap. Let's move. Stay close. You emerge from your tent, head on a swivel as you survey the situation. The camp is almost entirely ablaze, the heat and smoke stinging your eyes and obscuring your vision. You make your way ahead, your feet suddenly catching on something as you fall forward and scramble to stay upright. Recovering, you steal a glance backward at the obstruction. One of your companions. Dead. An arrow flies by you, narrowly missing, but finding a target nonetheless. Ulrich screams out in pain behind you, legs collapsing under him as he falls hard to the ground. You turn back, reaching out a hand to pull him up, but he waves you off. Leave me, I'll be no use in a fight. You follow his gaze down to his leg, a blood-covered arrow stuck through it. Go. You turn and continue onward, staying low to the ground as you move, eyes scanning for any friendly faces through the smoke. Not 50 yards ahead, you spot 4 of your companions through the haze, huddled together with weapons drawn against an overwhelming number of assailants. Sucking air into your burning lungs, you urge your legs forward in a desperate attempt to reach them. A figure suddenly appears from the corner of your eye, and with a flash of flame, the world goes dark. Surrounded, Gilbet's head whips around, searching frantically for any possible escape as the raiders edge closer. Beyond the ring of enemies, Torin and a few other familiar faces emerge from the darkness with bloodied weapons drawn, though they don't seem inclined to make any urgent use of them. What are you waiting for, Torin? Help us. The raiders eye Torin as he confidently steps among them, each seemingly unconcerned by his presence, perhaps even emboldened by it. Sorry, friends. A twisted smirk forms on the corner of his mouth as he slides an arrow from his quiver. We'll make this quick. Traitors. Airy. Gilbert glares at Torin with wild fury in their eyes, arms trembling as they level their weapon toward him. You damn traitors, have you no honor? This portrait does not match this character, but that's okay. Torin scoffs. Honor achieves little in this world. Glancing sideways at his accomplices, he raises a hand, signaling them to attack. I trust you lot can handle the rest. Spare no one. I didn't even get a chance to level people up. When the odds are against you, sometimes all you can do is minimize your losses, use everything at your disposal, and don't hold back. Fight to the death. Okay, I can't level up people right now, but we got this. She's honing her blade. I'm fatigued. I can't move for some reason. That's fine, I guess. I don't remember all your moves. Grant target plus 50% power in one movement for 2 rounds. And restore morale. Apply a damage shield to an ally for 3 rounds and transport them to a vacant cell around the back. Valkyrie. Let's do that. Target self or single ally, cleansing negative conditions and immunity. Let's do that. Immune to bleeding. But still took damage nonetheless. Miss. Your attack missed without proper set of basic attacks. You know what? I get it. Yeah, I know. I'm not straight across from them. I understand. I messed up. Oh, I didn't realize. That's my bad. Dang, I didn't even pay attention. I should have realized he was going to move. There we go. Missed, yep. Do less damage because he's right next to me. Dead. About to be dead. There we go. Trade and broken. Fight to the death. Loot all, please. Opening your eyes, you find yourself sprawled on the ground with a mouthful of dirt and throbbing ache in your head. Despite the ringing in your ears, you can hear a muffled voice calling out. A hand grips your shoulder, and you jerk at the touch, clawing at the ground and scrambling onto your back. Uric, easy now. You exhale with relief at the sight of Uric leaning over you, the early morning light shining upon his spattered face and garments. He straightens up and you grab hold of his extended arm, gripping tight as he pulls you upright. Regaining your senses, you look out at the smoking remains of your camp. Anything not taken by the raiders has been taken by the fires. Not much left, is there? The bastards took everything. He closes his eyes, lowering his head and sighing deeply. It was Torin, sir. He betrayed us. Torin, are you sure? Uric nods. Wasn't alone, either. Damon, Enos, Naira. His fingers clench into trembling fists. All fucking traitors. Through the anger, you notice a sadness in his eyes and realize suddenly that his nephew isn't present. Where's Gedrick? Uric glances down, slowly shaking his head. Don't know for certain, but I fear he's dead. He sighs. I was with him when the attack started, but we ran into trouble. Told the boy to run, but... He pauses, staring blankly into the distance. Don't remember much else, I'm afraid. Woke up to Alaric dragging me out from under a pile of bodies. Alaric's alive. Are there any others? Aye, he's alive. Managed to find a place to hide and patch himself up. I told him to stay off his feet. He snorts, waving hand over the general area behind him. But he's out there limping around, trying to salvage what he can. Thankfully, there's a few others, too. Seems they managed to kill a whole group of the bastards. His brief smirk fades into a grim expression. I'm afraid that's all, though. You turn to see Alaric emerging from a half-burnt tent, limping your way and being helped along by the other survivors of your company. A relieved smile forms on all their faces at the sight of you. If I'm gonna play more of this, I need to get voices down and, make different voices for different characters. Gods, we're glad to see you, sir. He glances at Uric. Have you shared the news? I did. Alaric fumbles inside his coat, pulling out a few slightly scorched papers. I found some correspondence in one of their tents. They had been planning this for months, it seems. Sigbert mutters under their breath. Traitorous bastards. Any idea who they were working with? I'm afraid not. Certainly more than just a ragtag group of thieves. They were too well armed and too well organized. Uric scoffs with disgust, leaning over to spit on the ground. A group of cowards, I say. Easy to achieve victory when half our troops passed out drunks. No doubt Torin and them were counting on that fact. The spineless pricks. I never did like Torin none. Always felt uneasy around him. Alaric furrows his brow, a thought creeping into his mind. I can hardly stomach the notion, but could Vaughn have been involved? Uric waves a dismissive hand. Not a chance. I know he and Torin got on well enough, but the man's as loyal as they come. I'm just glad he wasn't here for this. We've lost too much already. Regardless of who's involved, there's little we can do about it, at least for now. So what's our plan, boss? You know I'll follow you anywhere, but I promised my sister I'd look after Gedrick. If he's somehow alive, I need to find him, and if he's not, well, pounds his fist into the other hand. Us putting those traitors into the ground will have to suffice. Alaric places a calming hand on Uric. The boss is right. We've little choice in the matter. I understand you want vengeance. So do I. But we haven't the manpower or the means to seek it right now, and doing so would only get us killed. If we're going to do this, we'll need to first restore our numbers. Then, I promise, we'll hunt those traitors down. You look around at your companions, renewed purpose in each of their eyes as they nod in agreement. Right then, let's salvage what we can here, but we'd best travel light. It's a long walk to Andalon. 5 scrap, thank you. Okay, cool, thank you. Supplies and general upkeep can be expensive, and every day that pass will cost coin. The Iron Oath. In the Iron Oath, 1 year is 120 days. Okay, so we got 360 days. Top right corner, navigation controls, allowing you to advance time, stop traveling, and adjust the speed of your caravan. Given the situation, we can't afford a long journey. We should make our way to Cindy of Andalon to rest and regroup. Let's go. So it tells you this. You have neutral, and like the people will find you friendly. Common classes in this town. You'll see. We'll get into it. After many long days on the road, you and your companions breathe a collective sigh of relief upon entering the city limits of Andalon. The streets are bustling with traffic, and though it does seem to be business as usual, you can't help but sense an uneasiness among the people. Eric seems to pick up on it as well, and with narrowed eyes he looks up to the sky. The days are growing darker, that's for sure. He gestures to the crowds. No doubt they're all concerned about the scourge. Can't say I blame them. On the bright side, there will be no shortage of work available to us, but for now, he winces, glimpsing down at his injured leg. We could all do with a few days' rest. Alaric begins to shuffle forward, gesturing ahead with a nod. I believe the inn is this way. A few days later. With the morning sun shining into your room at the inn, you rise from your bed, pleased to find your body finally free of its many aches. Gathering your belongings, you walk down the creaking stairs to the ground floor, spotting your companions already seated at a table and breaking their fast. Morning, sir. You're looking a sight better, huh? Come. He gestures to the seat beside him with one hand, taking up a spoonful of porridge with the other. Sit. Eat. Across the table, Alaric tears off a piece of bread and hands it to you. We were just discussing our next. Alaric trails off as a man approaches the table. Your previous employer, Caldwin, sporting a puzzled look upon his face. I must say, I'm surprised to see you here. I heard about the battle. Heard you were dead, in fact. He slides into an open seat, spreading his arms wide. Yet, here you are. From who? Your associate. He looks up, trying to recall the name. Torin. That was it. Tall bastard he was. Said your entire company was killed in an ambush, and that he was lucky to be alive. Anyway, he brought me the vials, so we concluded our business, and he went on his way. Truth be told, no. I could tell he's hiding something. But I wasn't about to refuse the man. I suspect he could rip me apart with his bare hands, were he so inclined. Was there anyone else with him? A boy of 15 years? The man scratches at his chin. He had a few companions from what I saw. None that young, however. Where'd they go? I don't know that either, I'm afraid, but it seemed they were each going their separate ways. Alaric raises an eye at that piece of information. Retiring, perhaps. They certainly can afford it with everything they stole. So they betrayed you and stole your fortune, did they? I'm sorry for that, but perhaps we can help each other out. You have a job for us? More of an arrangement. Caldwin leans in closer, placing an elbow on the table. I've been looking to expand my business across Caelum, but the roads are a dangerous place, as you well know. And I'm in need of a permanent guard. In return, I would offer you a discount on all my wares, potions, elixirs, and the like. I'm sure they'd be of great use in your line of work. I care not where we travel, just so long as there are buyers for me to sell to. He leans back, spreading his hands across the table. So what do you think? Yeah, that would be cool. Have a merchant that travels with you. Caldwin smacks a hand down on the table. Excellent. Then consider me at your service, my friends. And as I said, where we go is entirely up to you. Alaric lifts his hand, a single finger raised. There's one problem, however. We simply cannot afford to travel anywhere at the moment. Not to mention, we are without carriages and horses. You've certainly had a rough go of it, huh? He waves a hand. No matter, I can supply both horses and carriages. As for funds, I hear the local vanguard have their hands full at the moment. I suspect you might find some work with them. He leans close, lowering his voice. Just don't mention my other activities. They would be none too pleased to learn of the vials in my possession. Thanks, Caldwin. Caldwin rises from his seat, straightening out his tunic. I have preparations to make then. He looks at each of you, nodding farewell. I will await you at the gates. Taking a bite from your bread, you look on as Caldwin strides out of the inn. Alaric turns back toward you, fingers rubbing his chin. You know, sir, I was thinking it might be wise to retire the company name. It will be easier if those traitors continue to think us dead. Eric grunts in approval as he swallows the last of his drink. He's right, I reckon. Best not draw any extra attention on ourselves, if we can help it. Any ideas, boss? BryBry's peeps has always had a nice ring to it, I thought. He pauses, flashing a toothy grin. I believe that will suit us well. Alright. Okay, so you go into a city. And there's quests that you can do. And you, like, select them, and then it happens. I didn't know it started immediately. Even from a distance, you can tell there is a sense of urgency brewing with the Vanguard garrison. As you near, a pair of hard-eyed guards order you to halt, their weapons held up to impede you. Behind them, a man in a decorative suit of armor. No doubt an officer takes note of your arrival, and with a wave of his hand, orders the two guards to stand down. At ease, soldiers, let them through. He bids you to approach, his eyes fixed on yours. My apologies, things are rather tense around here, as you can tell. He regards the rest of your companions, looking them up and down. I am Captain Huford. Is there something you need? Heard you needed help? An understatement, but you've heard correctly. I'm sure you've noticed the days growing darker of late. They say the scourge is coming, but in truth, it has already begun. We've been receiving increasing reports of void spawn in the area, and we're scrambling to respond to each. Any help you can provide is most welcome and will be rewarded, of course. What do you need us to do? A group of refugees are fleeing from a small village just south of us. I had dispatched a unit to aid them, but with the number of void spawn that was reported, I fear their presence won't be enough. I'd ask you to travel south, link up with them, and ensure the refugees arrive here safely. He turns to an aide, snapping his fingers and holding out his hand. The aide rummages through their satchel, producing a few papers which they promptly hand over. The captain briefly glances down at the documents before offering them to you. These will point you in the right direction. Good luck. He extends a friendly hand. I have no doubt you are suited to the task. No problem. Captain Huford nods and turns away, striding off to deal with another matter. Alaric steps towards you, peering over your shoulder at the report in your hands. Looks like we've got our work cut out for us, sir. Before we depart, might I suggest hiring some fresh recruits at the inn? I'm sure there are more than a few capable mercenaries available. Okay, so you get into town, you have options. And there's different effects that can affect the town. Sorry, I was reading them. So you have the market and the inn, which allows you to buy drinks to increase morale. You can recruit people, and you can rest. How much money do we have? 1,000? Yeah, we'll buy around. Then recruiting people. There's a list of recruits right here, and you choose how long to recruit them for. And then after, so like for example, we will buy this cheaper storm collar, and we'll do 52 a year for 4 years with $30 signing bonus. So we lost 30 bucks, but that's okay, because now we only have to pay him like yearly. And there's like a day system and everything, obviously, since it's based on time. And then you also still have your menu where you can come in here and level people up, check their gear, repair their gear, things like that, and customize and everything. But we'll get more into that later. That is all the time I have for this episode, so we're going to save this campaign. New save file, BryBry's Peeps. And we're going to quit to the main menu. And that's all the time I have for this one, you guys. That was the Iron Oath, at least the prologue of it. As you can tell, it is a decently narrative-heavy turn-based tactics RPG. That is quite fun. I really enjoy this one a lot. I'm excited to get back into it. That being said, if you guys want to check it out for yourself, I will put a link down in the description below. If you want to see more of it from me, then by all means hit that like button. Let me know down in the comments below, and I will be happy to make a series on this one. If not, I'll probably play it in my own time anyways. But if you guys have any inkling to watch it, then by all means, let me know, because I do enjoy this one. With that being said, thank you all for watching so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.